to go up. So you put more effort into raising them up and getting them ready for market. There's video auctioning. There's retain ownership, where people retain the ownership of those animals. They wean them. They load them up on a semi. They take them to a feedlot out west. They feed them, and they get the producer gets paid when that animal is hanging on a they're selling the carcass instead of the baby. So that requires a lot more effort, but it makes more money. So those are some of the things that you have to consider when you have cows. Okay. But all of the numbers that I have in my sheet, which are examples, these are steers. I got some heifer numbers as well, and the heifer numbers are slightly cheaper than the steer numbers, because steers will produce slightly more beef than a heifer. Okay. And this is a sale barn, meaning that you're going to get more money if you go and sell them in another way. So all of these things are just to say that we have to be careful with the way that we manage our farm.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't just jump into it and expect to, make money because you have cows.
Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe you're not making money because you have cows.
Yeah.
I have people here that have 15 cows and they're losing a lot of money. Then they don't have money to invest in fertilization, which is a basic practice. So they get themselves in a pickle pretty quickly.
Makes sense.
But that is the culture. That is our culture here. We're cow country, and we'd like to keep it that way. So sit down with your accountant, do some numbers, and see where you are. So we're talking reproduction today.
Yes.
And everything is tied to reproduction. The profitability is tied to reproduction. The pasture utilization is tied to reproduction. Everything is tied to reproduction. One of the tools that we have to measure profitability is reproductive efficiency. What I'm talking about is the question that you have, right?
Yeah, what is it? What is
reproductive efficiency? And it's very simple. Is the measure of your birth rate and your weaning weight. So you have your cows, you have 40 cows, 39 of them were they conceived, and then you have a calf crop of, let's say, 20. So you're missing a big percentage of that because of an abortion, because of predators, because your cows were not exposed to the bull, because the bull had a lesion or something like that. Stuff that happens.
Yeah.
So the more efficient you are with your reproduction, the more chances that you have to make money.
Okay.
Okay. So we have to be very efficient. The aim is to have one calf per every cow every year.
So how can somebody achieve efficiency?
Perfect. The efficiency can be, first thing that you need to do is that you need to keep a detailed record on the cow and make sure that cow calves and weans a heavy calf a year. If she doesn't do that, then you have to make a decision to keep her on the farm, give her a second chance, which is costing you money, or take her to the auction barn and have her sold, or have her processed, have her harvested, just to put it lightly and beautiful, or heat her up and have her for dinner. Ground beef. Anyway, so that's culling is one of the tools to make this happen. The other alternatives are to invest in younger heifers, invest in a bull, test that bull, check that bull for it's called the breeding soundness evaluation, where you contact a vet. That vet comes out. They check the external appearance of the bull. They check the eyes. They check the feet. They check the undercarriage. They test the sperm. They don't taste the sperm. They test the sperm for mobility, for the shape of the sperm under a microscope, and the movement of that sperm, and the progressive movement, which is the forward movement of that sperm.
Okay.
If we talked about undercarriage. So there's bulls that have accidents. They get kicked in the gonads. They get tangled in brush. They lay down on their body parts. I'm being G-rated today.
Yes.
I'm usually not that like that, and probably my secretary, if she's listening to me, she's laughing out loud. But accidents can happen. I remember when I was in college, we had a bull that was a prize bull of a producer, that cooperator, that he had a gene. It's called the slick hair gene. This is a dairy bull. So we tested this bull because we wanted to get sperm and we wanted to freeze the sperm. We were collaborating with the University of Florida, and they were taking some of those straws that we prepared of semen. That's what we use when we artificially inseminate. And they were inseminating some of the herd cows here in the States. Anyway, so it was a prize bull. It was a rarity. He had a genetic makeup that was desirable for heat stress and other things that we have to battle in the tropics. Anyway, so we went to collect the bull. The bull had a lesion in his penis. I said penis on the radio, by the way.
No, it's okay. That's the medical term. Yeah, you're good.
Yes.
You're good.
So he had a lesion. He could not be collected. He could not produce a sperm. So he had some issues. He had to go on treatment. A lot of people just cannot afford that.
Yeah.
A lot of people out there have a bull 365 days out of the year. The bulls with the cow, he doesn't get tested. He can get a disease, a sexually transmitted disease. He can transfer that disease to other cows, and that is costing everybody money because some of these diseases can cause abortion. So those are some of the things that you can do. Calling, we can do testing of that bull for the quality of breeding soundness evaluation. That's what it's called, of that sperm, the ability for him to mount an animal, and also if he's not apt for it, then he needs to be replaced. But if you don't know it, then nothing happens. So some of those bacterial diseases or viral diseases can cost us our calf
so it pays to just go ahead and have your animals checked the way they're supposed to be checked.
Yes. And when you have a continuous breeding season, when that breeding season is you have the bull with the cows all year long, a lot of things can happen. And then the other problem is that you're going to have a calf this week, a calf next week, and when it's time to take him to market, you're just taking one or two animals at a time.
Yeah.
Instead of grouping those animals, we have hormone treatments that we can synchronize cows, so they come in heat and they conceive at in a short time frame.
Oh wow.
We can do that. We do it with women as well. So if we can group cows just to make it worth the effort of having a uniform group of calves to take to the market later in the year, that can be synchronized to hit the highest priced seasons, so those producers can get more money.
Wow.
So we can do a lot. We're technologically this is artificial insemination is another way that you can do it, where you don't even need a bull in the farm. This is for the smaller producers. You can have semen shipped to you. An AI technician or artificial insemination technician can go there. He can breed the cow for you, or with the sperm of a bull.
Yeah.
Okay. And that way you're not losing money on feeding a bull.
So is it a cheaper way to go about it?
It's a cheaper way to go about it. It depends on the scale. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a cheaper way to go about it, period. But you need, a structure. You need to have the right configuration on your farm in order to do that. The other thing is that your genetics that come in those semen straws are the best in the country. Mm-hmm. So for $25 a straw, you can get the best line of, some of the top lines of the bloodlines on a breed. Mm-hmm. And that way you can have better offspring. Okay. You can keep some of those heifers, and you can buy a different bull that's a great bull from out west or Canada or wherever.
These bulls are already checked out, like you said.
Yes, there's no sexually transmitted diseases mm-hmm. there. So that way you can progress genetically. A bull typically breeds 25 cows. Mm-hmm. So in a herd, if you look at, I'm a geneticist by training. If you look at the gene pool of a herd of those 25 cows, 50% of that gene pool or the DNA in those cows they're coming from one animal. Okay. Okay. So you can invest in a high quality bull mm-hmm. that will give you the best genetics, and that way you can progress. You can make progress, genetic progress, really quickly. You have a
better probability of coming out.
Yes, making money. Usually, I had a guy come in a couple weeks ago. He told me that he had a pet bull, and that pet bull, he was used to scratching him on the head. He got too friendly with the pet bull. The pet bull grew up and gave him a beating the other day. Wow. And this is probably a 7-year-old man. So it is very risky to have, one of these bulls in the farm. I'm not talking about a range cow herd where, you just see the bull once a week or once a month or whatever. I'm talking about those little herds that are used to petting the animals on a regular basis. This can be dangerous because they grow up and they don't know any better. Anyway, so that bull needs to be hamburger. I don't know what happened to it. So anyway, so it's we're talking about the decisions that you can do, that you can make to stop bleeding out money and actually investing. It's a better way to invest your time and efforts.
So it may be a little bit more work, but it's going to pay off eventually.
Yes, okay. Yes. So, possible losses in terms of reproductive efficiency, why we're not at 100% when we should be. If we do everything right, we're skipping some telltale signs of the way that we're losing money. A lot of producers have an animal that they showed in the fair, or their kids showed in the fair 10 years ago. That cow has got a sentimental value to them, but she's not breeding. Okay, that is a money pit. Okay, that's what we classically call a money pit. She's not paying the rent. Other cows are working for her. She needs to go. Okay, Betsy needs to go.
That's $9,000 in the hole, yeah.
Some other issues can be body condition score related. When you look at me on a body condition score, I'm probably like an 8. So I got some fat in me. You have to go to a body condition score of a 6 to a 7. That's where we want to be with cows. A body condition score goes from 1 to 9. 1 is overly thin and emaciated. 9 is extremely fat and probably she's not going to be able to breed. Okay? So that means if she's a 9, she's probably overeating. She's not making money. She's probably going to have issues with breeding. So we want to have your resources adjusted to having a herd average of about a 5, upper 5 to a 7. Some animals are just old and they don't gain as much.
So what would you suggest food-wise for a cow that's pretty much like to get them to that range?
Captain Crunch. No, I'm just kidding. Well, there's tables, and we can help you with these tables. So the NRC, which is the National Research Council, they have some graphs and tables that will indicate what the animals' requirements are based on their age, based on their metabolic state, if they're pregnant or not, if they're in a growth stage, if they're just over the hill. So there's guidelines on crude protein, energy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Usually a cow that it's early gestation, which is early pregnant, she will require a smaller dose of protein than a cow that is on the late gestation or the lactation stage. So that will depend on the animal.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not telling you what to do.
Yeah.
Because it depends. But usually our forages here, Bahia grass has a low amount of crude protein. I'm talking about like 7% crude protein. Maybe this is unfertilized. If you fertilize your pastures, that amount of crude protein is going to go up. The amount of digestible nutrients is going to go up as well. So even if you're leasing a piece of property and it's Bahia grass, you can increase the nutrition of that pasture by doing a soil sample, liming, and fertilizing according to the needs of the soil. That way, your animals are going to receive better quality forage, and they're going to gain faster and grow faster and maintain that body condition that you want.
So you definitely can't just throw cows in a pasture and expect them. You're like, okay, I got enough grass, but it depends on what's in it. Yeah, there's a lot of controlled variables.
Yes, yes, and I've said it here before. We just came out of a nasty hurricane season last year, so there's a lot of rain that was dropped, so a lot of nutrients that were lost. So you need to replace those. You need to adjust your pH. If you look at the window, you're gonna see a golf course. In some instances, that's not what a pasture should look like. Bahia grass should be actively growing, even though it's drought season right now, so its growth is going to be stunted until we get to the rainy season. But if you don't have enough forage there, your animals are going to start using those fat reserves, so they're going to get thin. So they're going to go down on that body condition. Okay, so they may be a 7 in October, but right now they're probably more like 5.
So take your precautions, so and you don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
So what you do is that you supplement with molasses, with crude protein products that you can put on the formulation on molasses. There's pre-done products out there for you. Check with your feed store, see what they got. Make sure that your animals have what they need, not to lose that body condition score. And there's apps for that. You can look for body condition score guides on your phone. So you have a picture of a cow that's a body condition score of a 6, and you can compare to what you think it's a body condition score to a 6 and see if that animal is good or not. If it's not, then you need to supplement. You need to put some weight on that animal. If you have groups of animals, it's a lot more manageable than if you have a bunch of range cattle out there, which is, a lot of what we do have in this community. Is a lot of range cows that are, on a big group. But if you have the ability to have small groups of cows that are, or heifers that you can feed that have the similar requirements, that makes it easier. And again, you have to work with what you have.
Yeah.
Usually grouping animals means investing in fence, means having more labor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So put some numbers down.
The cost goes up.
Yes. Other thing is that there's no $1,500 bull out there anymore. So if you want a quality bull, you're gonna have to pay for it. But when you look at that bull out of I hope you're not buying it from sale barn, but we do have occasionally some good bulls at sale barns. So you can look there. You should go to a reputable farm, and you should ask for genetics. They're called EPDs, expected progeny difference. So those EPDs are predictions on how the bull is going to behave in terms of the offspring quality that they're going to produce. Gotcha. So we have predictions. We have ways to make sure that we're buying the best bull that's out there. If you buy a crappy bull that doesn't look like much, expect your steers to have short bodies and flat butts and look like daddy, because that's what you're getting. Okay, that's what you're buying. Other issues that we have is genetic defects. We can have like with people, we have genetic defects that are inherited. If you have that, you have to check your line. Maybe the bull that you bought for $13,000 is got a genetic problem, so you have to make the appropriate decision.
When you're buying something like that,
there's no Carfax.
There's no, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Pretty much like a Carfax, you know. People who have are selling it and say, "Well, I've had them tested and things like that." Is that something that is usually available to you at those kinds of places, or no?
And again, it depends. If they can show you the pedigree of an animal, they can show you the evidence that this bull was tested, the fact that this bull doesn't have any certification from a vet that this bull is clean. So they can give you a guarantee. It depends on where you're buying it. If you're loaning,
and where would you suggest going if you wanted something like that?
You can go to the Florida Cattlemen's Association, and they have a breeders list.
Yeah, so you know what you're getting.
Or I would go to one of these semen distributors. Select Sires, ABS, Genex. There's different ones out there, and they can help you with your artificial insemination. They can also help you with devising a plan to group animals together.
Oh, wow! So it's available too.
Yes. So there's multiple outlets that you can use to get better quality animals to invest in efficiency. So let me give you background on how cows work. Okay. There's two different types of cows. There's the Bos Taurus, which is the European cow, which are breeds like your Angus, your Charolais, your Simmental. There's I don't know how many breeds we got. There are Bos Indicus cows, and those are your Brahman type cows, the ones that have the hump with loose skin. Those are Asian cows that come from a different line. Their gestation period is going to be slightly different. Bos Indicus, the Brahman type cows, take longer in terms of gestation. The amount of time they cook that baby for you. In average is 296 days.
Oh, wow.
Bos Taurus is 283, so that's about 9 months. In terms of the estrus cycle, which is something that we look for to measure efficiency of reproduction, the cow coming into heat, she's ready to be bred at some point. That is, like a woman's cycle, 21 to 28 days, but it does vary depending on the animal, and it's something that they can inherit as well from their mamas. We can manipulate the estrus cycle with hormonal therapies just to signal a the brain when to start producing certain hormones, so that cow can ovulate when you want her to ovulate.
So it's like birth control.
It's birth control for four-legged mamas.
Wow.
Yeah, so we can do that. I've worked with some of these reproductive physiologists that they can predict precisely when that egg is going to be released.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that ensures that you have a more precise breeding.
Yeah. In
terms of the semen, we can also sex the semen now. We can produce female sperm and male sperm based on separation by weight of that sperm.
Wow.
That's a 90-something% guarantee that you get female or male. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
that's incredible.
Science is amazing. So you don't need to detect heat on an animal to right now, if you're doing some of these gene therapies, to get her hormonal therapy, to get her bred. Okay. So she ovulates without you having to check her for signs of heat. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So hormones, people are kind of afraid of hormones. Some people are probably out there nodding their head saying, yeah, this is dangerous stuff that we're adding hormones to the cows so they can get bred. I'm going to give you a definition of what a hormone is. It's just a protein or a compound of the body that is secreted in one organ and has an effect on another one. Okay, so talk about the estrogen is secreted in the genitals or in the ovaries for estrogen. Males also secrete estrogen. We produce estrogen. Okay, so that's why we cry with when we watch Benji. Anyway, so hormones are secreted in the ovary or in the adrenal glands in the renal glands. The estrogen has an effect on the brain. Okay, so it signals the brain that it needs to do something else. That's when you eat chocolate, you have a release of hormones that are called endorphins.
And they make you feel good.
That makes you relax. It goes to your muscles and makes you happy.
Yeah.
Okay. I usually have my chocolate with milk, so I get high quality animal derivatives that way. FSH, for example, is called a follicular stimulator hormone. It's produced by the brain. It signals the hypothalamus that it's time to release. It's secreted by the brain. Never mind the details because I had them wrong in my head there. It's secreted by the brain. It signals the ovaries to do a follicular wave to develop those immature ovocytes into mature ones and eventually become an egg. Okay, so those are pretty cool things. One of the controversial hormones is called BST. We used to inject BST. There's some BST still used in the United States. It's supplemented to some herds of cows, and what it does is that BST is short for bovine somatotropin. So it's a growth hormone for cows. Those cows have a reaction to the BST that they produce more milk. They utilize feed more efficiently, but it's still a hormone. So it shows up in the milk when we drink the milk because this is a hormone based on proteins. We swallow it, it breaks down in our stomach. So it's actually not going to have an effect on us. We're not going to grow breasts, or our teeth are going to fall off, or we're going to start mooing like people think.
Apart from those negative, beliefs that people may have, are there any positive things that may come out of ingesting something like that that's been injected into a cow that does come through the milk?
Yes. You get more protein, slightly more protein. That's it.
That's all it is.
That's it. Okay. I'm sorry, you're not going to have the ability to get more nutrition out of your kale.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. You're not going to start mowing either. So I'm sorry.
Any myth besides just what you know, the protein? There's nothing more, nothing less.
No,
okay.
No superpowers with this one. But it's a good question. When you look at BST, it was demonized. And we're going off subject here because of that belief, because of that ignorance that we see the news outlets thrive on. Mm-hmm. But it's shown to be better for the environment when you use it because you're using resources more efficiently. You're fine-tuning that cow's metabolism, so you get more out of the cow with a lower carbon footprint. But because of the hype of, I guess you can call it fetish of some media and people, you have a lot of people that stopped using BST because they couldn't sell their milk.
Really?
Okay. So yes.
Wow.
So that's what happens when you demonize something without actual science fact. Anyway, so hormones are amazing. I studied hormones for years, and they're amazing. I think if you believe in God, this is really cool. It's a complex machine that can get a lot done. A lot of moving parts, and every time that you study it, it just amazes you. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so we can also, at the farm level, we can invest in detection of pregnancy. Mm-hmm. So we're not guessing that the cow is pregnant, and we're keeping that animal, feeding that animal, taking care of that animal for 9 months, and then when it's time to calve, she does not.
Yeah.
So we can detect when a cow is pregnant by testing her. You can use a blood test, just like that pee on a stick deal with women. We do it with a cow with blood from a cow. Mm-hmm. So we draw that blood, we analyze that blood through private labs, and in a couple days you can have a result of the cow being pregnant or not. Mm-hmm. It requires not a whole lot of training, just the ability for us to draw blood and have the right information that the bull was exposing or was mounting the cow and got her bred.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
So I've had a lot of girlfriends, mm-hmm. and usually when we'd hang out with each other and one would be, menstruating, mm-hmm. the rest of us would start. Does that happen with cows as well? Is that something that is a thing? Like
they don't menstruate.
I meant the time where they'll start like releasing their eggs, or if they're around mm-hmm.
Another
cow that's on like a schedule type thing. Well, mm-hmm. Does it ever occur the same way?
It does, and at some degree. Everything is controlled by the brain. Mm-hmm. So monkey see, monkey do applies to the whole body, I guess, at some extent. I'm not saying that
entirely
that they're all going to cycle at the same time.
Yeah.
But those signals work on the rest of the body as well. Mm-hmm. So there's some of that. The cool thing about cows is that they're highly social. They have a way to they have a pecking order. Okay, so you have the alpha cow. That alpha cow, when another one is in heat, mm-hmm. she will mount her just to signal to make the bull see what's happening.
Yeah.
So the bull can know that there's a heifer there that needs to be bred.
Wow.
Okay, so they help each other out.
Yeah.
It's not something weird or freaky, or we have degenerate cows or whatever. You don't have to pray for the cow. It's just nature. Okay, they're helping each other out so they can maximize their production, or mm-hmm. They help each other out basically. So But on your question, it does happen at some degree. With it's just that brain trigger that happens to us all. We're mammals.
Yes.
We're proud of it too. So we can also do ultrasounds. We can have an ultrasound technician go out, and they have a probe that they insert on a cow's butt, and that rectal cavity is on top of the reproductive cavity. Okay, so with that probe, they come in and they visualize if the cow is pregnant or not. Okay, if you do it at the correct time, from like 60 to 80 days, they can even sex the fetus. Okay, they can know if it's got a pee-pee or something else. Okay.
Art says pray for cows.
Yeah. Pray for cows.
Yeah.
Okay. Amen. Anyway, so yeah, they need all the prayer that they can get. They're gonna be hamburger one day. So or rugs. I got a cow rug in my.
Do you really?
Yeah, in my office. I love it. So the third way that we, that's probably the most common way, is rectal palpation. So one of the things that we do is that we have several, with the University of Florida, we have palpation schools. They're called beef cattle reproduction schools. There we teach producers and labor how to check cows by manually feeling for a baby inside a cow.
Oh, wow.
Okay, we're not talking about anything perverted.
Yeah.
We're not talking about cow rape. It's just a way to detect if there's a baby inside a cow or not. I train people on that. You stick your hand up a cow's butt, and it feels pretty warm, and it's kind of complicated, but you can feel that fetus. And if it's big enough, you can feel, the legs and the face and the animal moving inside.
Wow.
So it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. You have to be careful to insert your hand in the right outlet. Okay. Some of the experiences that we've had is that people don't know what they're doing, and they're in a hurry, and they you can cause abortion if you're not careful on what you do. And that baby, it's in that early stage, and you put a lot of force in it. But that is one way that we can teach you, or the university professionals can teach producers to detect a pregnancy and make the right decisions. You can do this, and you can detect a fetus 30 days after exposure, after breeding. You can do it. You can follow along. You can do it. You can detect the age of that fetus inside the cow based on the size. But the problem is that it's invasive, and there's about a 4% chance of you actually causing an abortion if you do it early.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's something pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is our time up?
Yes, our time is up. Yeah, I know.
All of the things that I had to say. I'm crazy about cows. I'm sorry.
No, you've actually.
I'm like Jill with dogs and cats, but with cows.
Gotcha. Well, guys.
So I'm sorry. The last thing I have is, we do have services for you. We have a. Are you shutting me down?
No.
Okay.
He always does this.
Anyway, so we have a June 6th meeting. We're talking about cow economics and the economic outlook of 2018, 2019 at the Extension office. You can call Mary. You can register early for that. We do have a chicken program coming up at the Extension office the 15th and 22nd. It's a backyard poultry mini series. It's 2 sessions, and it's going to be filled with information. We don't have a lot of people registered for it, so I don't want to cancel another one, people.
Yeah.
Just sign up at 863-773-2164. Man, I had all this stuff that I wanted to put down for you. Huh? 2164.
Hey,
so
we
JJ's
can carry this over to next Friday.
Yeah, we can. I think I covered most of it.
Most of it? Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming in again and having me on your show.
Yeah,
I learned a lot.
You're not art, but you're very, very close to it.
Thanks.
Happy birthday. I hope you have a good one. Pray for my dad. He's under surgery right now. So if you guys out there can pray for him, it would be greatly appreciated. Mm-hmm. Anyway, have a good weekend.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
This is your home.